This video is brought to you by Squarespace. What's up everybody? I've been in Paris for about 2 days now and I haven't been able to explore it pretty much at all because I've been so busy with the Huawei P30 launch. And what I want to do today is just go around and kind of look around and see what the city's about, take the new Sony A6400 with me. I love having that flip up screen and seeing myself. Now, I don't want to use an external mic. I just want to see what the internal mic can do, see how effective of a vlogging tool this is. And then also, I want to share with you my last 48 hours approximately with the Huawei P30 Pro. Let's go and explore the city. This should be fun. So I'm out here exploring Paris today, and it's a really nice day. There's a ton of people out, and I'm testing the Galaxy S10 Plus versus the Huawei P30 Pro. So the first thing I want to talk about with the P30 Pro is hardware-wise, it's not much different than the Mate 20 Pro. So if you're looking for a huge change there, you're definitely not going to get it. The one thing that I did notice is the P30 Pro doesn't have a Quad HD display, which is kind of weird to me because I figured since the Mate 20 Pro had a Quad HD display, then I figured this one would have it. But to be honest, the display is really good and I don't really notice a difference when it comes to resolution at all. But the one thing that I did notice is that the display is not as bright on the P30 Pro. Typical Huawei hardware, nicely built, it feels great, and I'm enjoying it so far. Now, the 4200 milliamp hour battery, I'm sure that 1080p display will help a ton with battery life. I can't make that judgment quite yet because I've been running this phone so hard, doing so many camera tests that I really can't determine a regular day's use out of it, but I'll definitely have that in the full review. But hardware-wise, it's still stellar, and I'm just using the crap out of this camera right now. I mean, I'm loving it. There's a lot of different things about this camera that we're gonna discuss later. It's very, very similar to the Mate 20 Pro. Very similar, but it also has some really good improvements too. The second big thing that I want to talk about with the P30 Pro is really that zoom, because I mean, that's the thing that they touted the most. I feel like there's a 40 megapixel sensor that does have a super spectrum sensor. So I guess the biggest change in this is the green for yellow. So it's a RYYB sensor, and you can see that at night, and I'll show you that a little bit later. I feel like the colors are getting a little mixed up right now. Maybe with software it'll get a little bit better, but zoom. So 5x zoom, and then you have a 10x hybrid zoom, and that 10x works actually really, really good. So if you see the Eiffel Tower behind me, I'm going to show you some shots right now of how far you can get, because look at how far away I am from it. But 10x, you can see the people. It's nuts. Watch this. From Paris to back home that quick. I know it's been weird, but the reason why is because I had like 20 minutes to make it from Toronto to here, so I couldn't vlog at all in this situation. But I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that when I asked people what they thought about the P30 Pro for YouTubers React, you can check that out. I'll go ahead and link that if it's ready. But they all talked about the camera because that was the biggest thing. The camera is probably the big game-changing thing. And the zoom that I showed you earlier, it is true, it's really legit. Now, that's the one thing that I thought that needs a little bit of work is low light performance when it comes to the zoom lenses, because when it comes to zoom, of course, then cars have to come by and make a lot of noise. But when it comes to zoom, I feel like in low light performance, the zoom is not as good, but that's expected, right? That's expected because the 40 megapixel does really well. But the one thing that I noticed is that the time of flight sensor on the back, it helps a ton because I'm taking a lot of aperture pictures. And what I mean by open aperture is just kind of leaving that aperture as wide as possible on aperture mode and taking shots. And what's cool is that you can actually get people from much farther away than you can ever think of. So here's a few pictures from Paris where people were getting married on that top part, and a lot of people were taking pictures, and I was being kind of a creep taking pictures of them. But what's cool is, like, you can see how far I was away from this person, and it cut her out absolutely perfectly. And you can just see the individual strands of hair and everything, and I was so far away, and it just looked like it came off of the DSLR. So that's the one big thing. And there's multiple pictures that I took like this. I'm going to show you a few of them. And this camera, while it might need work, and with final software it's going to get a lot better, the camera is definitely improved over all of the other camera systems. So that's something that you can look forward to. And the last thing I want to touch on is battery life. So that 1080p display, which was kind of a disappointment in my opinion, I can see why they went for that, because the battery life is absolutely legendary on this phone. And I think a lot of people are going to be talking about that on Twitter and things like that, because the Mate 20 Pro already had incredible battery life, and I think that this one is actually slightly better, because I've gone like 2 to 3 hours on this phone in the very beginning, and I might be at like 98%. It's kind of crazy how slowly it trickles down. But I think David Kogan, the unlocker, he did a day-to-day life thing, and I was with him that day, and he ended the night with like 50% battery life or something like that. So I'll link that too so you can see it, because he spent a whole day with it just kind of documenting his time. But the battery life, 4,200 milliamp hours on the Pro version, I think you're going to be really happy with that as well. So let me know what you guys think about this phone. I just wanted to share my 48 to 72 hour experience with you. So let me know what else you want me to talk about in the full review, because I'll be working on that. I just need a little bit more time. There was a huge software update that was also pushed yesterday, so that changes things a little bit too. So until this thing actually goes on sale, then we won't really know what it's going to be like with final software. So I'll keep you updated on that. I also want to thank the sponsor Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And if you don't know about Squarespace, you definitely should, because if you're looking at any type of website or any kind of store, then you should build it with Squarespace, because it's really easy. They have amazing templates that are super easy to use, and you can get a professional looking website in no time. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build a website and also going to build a store on top of that to kind of sell my used merch and phones and things like that. So stay tuned for that as well. And all you have to do to get started is just hit that link down below, squarespace.com/DannyWinget, to get 10% off. There's no reason to wait. You should get started today. And I'm excited. As soon as I get my office up and running, I'll be building that website. Stay tuned so you can see that. So see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Tell me if you're feeling this style, and I will see you guys on the next trip.